Truth will tell me that yes. Truth will tell me that yes, if it were to be revealed to you that Ali ibn Abi Talib salamullah alayhi interacted with the Khulafa that had usurped his right, you would not be able to accept it. Truth will tell me yes, there are these limitations in my character, in my intellectual world and in my world of attitudes, that intimate world that marks me. We arrived at that point. And then we said, then we come to a perpetual condition, which is tawbah. Tawbah means to return. Tawbah is other than istighfar. Istighfar are for those individual sins that we have committed and we need to make penance or seek forgiveness for. But tawbah is a perpetual state of returning to the point of origin. The point of origin is the one that is beyond one at which we are right now. To never be complacent with whatever we have. So once the truth identifies parameter, Tawbah does what? Tawbah is that sword that would break the mold in order to allow for the greater possibility. To allow for the greater possibility. After the state of Tawbah, we spoke of intention. What is intention? Intention is the inner activity to receive the greater possibility. And hence the Prophet has said, the intention of a person is better than his deed. If you were to have one out of the two, have a good intention without the deed, as opposed to having the deed without the intention. Why? Because the intention is the activity of the individual when he is or she is awakened. It's a born soul that has taken birth, that is now actively pursuing something greater, the greater possibility. Then finally we came to the point of sincerity. What is sincerity? Sincerity is the denial of any limitation within that intention of allowing or yearning greater possibility. That is sincerity. And sincerity works at both levels of the intellectual and the attitude world. Both the worlds, sincerity purges us of impurities. And therefore, if I want to now evolve at a level where I want to become godly and feed the world, then feeding of the world should not be in order to establish the truth of Islam. It should be for the sake of the good of feeding the world itself at the level of the intellectual universe. And in myself, if I want to feed the world, if that's my intention, what does sincerity do? Sincerity takes away that I don't want to feed the world because I find it an unbearable situation, but feeding the world is the right thing to do. I don't want to feed the world because I want to seek Allah through it. It is the right thing to do. I want to do salah, not because I want to have proximity to Allah, because that notion of proximity, again, it brings about a limitation within the intention. I want to pray salah because my Lord has commanded me. Whatever happens after that, it's up to Him. It's a very beautiful level of existence when the soul shakes away all the limiting factors, and it is a soul truly humbling itself to Allah and say, oh Allah, cut my head off if you will, restore it if you will, burn me if you will, grant me paradise if you will. None of these things matter anymore. Now we come to the mother of all principles, and that is love. What is love, and how do we therefore define it in this context? Love, therefore, is the activity that makes the individual reach the depths of the intention that they have intended. What is love? Love is that effacement of the self. When we talk about love, there is nothing more undignified than love. Do you know this? Love knows no dignity. Love knows no pride. If there is dignity and pride in love, then that's less than love. Look at Qais, and we always give this example, the besotted lover of Layla. He's going around in the jungle saying, oh Layla, oh Layla. O deers of the jungle, inform me of the whereabouts of my Layla. And in his passion of finding his Layla, he has been reduced to flesh and bones, and he passes in front of a person who is engaged in prayers, and the person stops him and says, Qais, you have disturbed my prayer. Qais wasn't even mindful that that man existed. He said, what prayer? He said, I was in Salah. He said, who do you pray to? He said, I pray to Allah. He said, you pray to the creator of my Layla? He said, yes. He said, but in the love of Layla, I've become mindless of heaven and earth, hell and heaven, of you and me. How can you be so mindful of me praying to the Lord of Layla? How? Love, therefore, is the effacement of the self, and it knows no dignity, it knows no pride. The most undignified person is the person who loves. This might seem so strange to the ears, but dignity, sense of pride, and love are inconsistent. There was a lover with a lot of dignity and pride. He became the greatest enemy of Allah through his love. Iblis, he loved Allah. He loved Allah extremely. And in the Sufi Irfani language, he is one of the greatest lovers of God. To the extent that one of the Sufis of India, at the British Raj, taunting the Indians, he stated, become like Iblis. Refuse to do sajda to anyone other than Allah. Do not humiliate yourself by serving the British masters. Be like Iblis and claim your freedom in your love. That is one side of the coin. The other side is Ibrahim. Look at this wonderful person. When Jibreel comes to him after a lifelong of striving and tests, he said, Ibrahim, Allah wishes to take a friend upon this earth. Ibrahim immediately says to him, O Jibreel, lead me to the friend of Allah so that I may serve him. At that point, Jibreel said, it's due to this sincerity of your love that Allah has chosen you as his friend. So love is actively pursuing what we have intended, but that love is of no value and of no use unless sincerity breaks the I from that love and remove that sense of pride and dignity. You see, when I love, it is me loving. Love is something that is supposed to remove me in my want of the beloved. Ali ibn Abi Talib salamullah alayhi says, Hubbullah ma marra ala shay'in illa ihtaraq. The love of Allah does not pass upon anything but that it burns it and renders it to ashes. The love of Allah cannot tolerate even an iota of I when it passes. It removes everything and effaces it totally. What is the meaning of love? We take aid from our great scholars, Shaykh Mutahari and others, in which he explains in his thoughts, he says, well, love is the increase of similarities. And it makes perfect sense that when a person falls in love with somebody else, they begin to imitate the object of love. Do you not see two close friends? When you look at one, you are immediately be reminded of the other one. How?